right, good morning. We are going to do my stew today. And I've done it before, and I've sat here and I've done this stew while I was telling you guys stories, but today it's going to be just about the stew. And there's going to be a couple of little details that I'll go over with you, kind of almost like life hacks. The big thing with this stew is how I'm able to get all this in this. So I'll talk you all through that. And I've never written this down. You guys keep asking me for my recipe. So I'm going to tell you what this is, and then when we get to the spice part of it, I'll tell you what the spices are, and you just have to keep in mind I'm spicing this for 7 days. There's 7 days worth of spice in this, and so I call this a savory stew. All right, it's not the stew my dad made when I was a kid. It's kind of based on that though. My dad made it with an onion and potatoes and lamb and green beans. All right, this is poor people food. Okay. These days, with the price of things, that's not the truth anymore. So I'm going to put basically about 2/3 of a stick of butter in this thing. I've got 2 pounds of carrots, which I like the carrots that are the multicolored. You know, I think that's just kind of cool. I go with this much green beans, so you know, roughly the size of my skull. And I go with about 5 pounds of beef. And what I try to do is get a little more than that. I'm buying beef shoulder these days and slicing it up myself. And when I'm done with this, I will be taking some thin slices off of this. And I'm going to cook it up in a cast iron pan and have some steak and eggs after I'm done preparing the stew. 1 large onion, or 2 smaller ones, it's fine. Don't forget the onion. I made this stew a few weeks ago, and I forgot to get the onion. And it was not the same stew. So I peel my carrots and everything because I don't know if you guys pay attention, but if you buy store-bought pre-cut, pre-peeled carrots or fruit or anything like that, a lot of people get sick from that. So just do your own thing with that, and I recommend it. Now you got to start with a knife, and I've been using this knife right here for, boy, probably close to 30 years. The same knife, but maybe longer. And I use this sharpener to sharpen it. And it doesn't always do it perfect. If you can run your fingernail across that in this manner, right, like that, and you feel a burr, well then it's not good. So take yourself the bottom of a coffee cup, right, and just drag that across it a few times, and it'll remove that burr and make this thing very sharp. That's all you got to do. I know people that get new knives every couple of years because they bring it to a knife sharpener. Or I got one client, they have a guy that comes. I like this guy. He's a good guy. But he uses a grinder. And he takes so much metal off, as I mentioned, every couple of years they got to buy new knives. Same knife, well over 30 years. Also, this cutting board I'm using here, I made myself, and I've been cutting on this board multiple times a day, every single day. This cutting board is probably about 12, 13 years old. That's probably about when I did it, and it holds up great, and I'll go over a little bit of how I deal with that afterwards as well. All right, so first thing here, I'm going to guesstimate where I'm putting the angle on this, so I hope you can see. I'm so pro. I'm going to shoot a bunch of clips here, all right? There's going to be a bunch of, like the garbage bags in the background. All right. Try to keep this video short. That was a pretty long entry there. I'm not going to go through this and show you the full process of everything. It's just a little how I'm doing it here. So I'm going to take 1 lump here, put it in there. I'm going to take another lump here. I'm going to put it in there. I'm going to take another lump here, and I'm going to put that in there. All right. All right, so see how nice that cut the plastic. I have a system with my carrots, just how I do it. I cut my ends off first. I cut 3 at a time, typically. And I always do this. I put 1 fat end with 2 short ends, cut it, cut it, put it to the side. They're going to get peeled next. with this thing, an actual peeler. Remember those when you were a kid? Got my garbage can to the left, and what I'm able to do that way is I just take this, I can put these over here, I just take this, drop it right off to the side. Real simple. Alright. Sometimes things fall on the floor, so you know what you gotta do, you gotta bend over and pick them up. Alright, real simple, boom, right into the waste pan. Garbage can, whatever you want to call it here. You get something like that, if it's too deep, you just take the end of this thing here and you can just dig that out if it bothers you. That's what that's for. Very simple. And we're right in there. You don't have to wash your carrots because you are peeling the skin off of them. All right, common sense. Don't waste your time. I don't actually wash anything. This is a little skinny one. This one's a little weak. It's a little weak here. Just realized that wasn't on the screen. This is rare. Usually I eyeball the bag better and I try to get the carrots that aren't this skinny. It's kind of rare. They're usually more like this size here. Anyhow, you get the picture. All right, this is what we got to do. Boom, boom, boom. Very simple. All right, just like before, I just get in here, and you're not going to see any fancy cutting chef stuff here. It's just very simple. It's just chunks of carrots, man. You don't have to get crazy. And then put these all up in the pot. Got a few more for you here. Doesn't matter the consistency of this. It's a stew. This isn't about things looking good on a plate. All that other silly stuff that people seem to care about. Doesn't matter, people. It's all going to get chewed up in your mouth and shoot down your gullet, and then you know where it goes, right? So don't worry about getting super fancy here, all right? That's it. Very simple. And the best tools in the kitchen, right here, your paws. Your dirty, stinking paws. And if you're down to just 2 carrots, it's just, I find that instead of trying to cut them this way, just, again, rotating them around, because they lock up to each other, it makes it a little bit easier to cut them. You know, very simple. Normally I'm not talking to somebody, I'm listening to some YouTube podcasts, so this is very boring for me right now. Alright, this is what the pot's looking like right now. We're going to slide this stuff around, start moving it up. You'll see how this goes as we progress here. Next is the green beans. I've opened the bag. I just pull them down onto the cutting board here. When I was a kid, we just busted the ends off. We would sit there, the whole family, and bust the ends off. What I do now is I take them and I just kind of arrange them real quick. And I always try to get the ends correct. Like the stem end here to the butt end. And I just kind of cut them once, spin them, align them, cut the other end off, dump them in the pot, drag this off to the side. If there's weird ones, I will throw them away. You know what I'm saying? If they just look like they're not healthy, which happens. I'll tell you what, the most inconsistent thing I find with the ingredients out here, no matter where I'm buying them, is with the green beans. You just never know what the condition these things are going to be in. And yeah, this is again, this is a staple. I said it earlier. The stew is, you know, you can make stew out of anything. Shit, you can find an old boot and shoe leather. I mean, people have made stew out of dead animals, like decaying animals, because when you think about it, everything's going to get cooked in that pot. So you're going to cook out. You're going to kill any bacteria, really, I think. Anyhow, I'm going to cook this thing for 8 hours today under low. Anyhow, you've seen enough of this. You get the idea. This is just my system. I'm not telling you to do it this way. I find that this is just efficient for me. I can get more cut in a couple swats there than it would take me to bust the end off of each one. Okay, something I almost forgot is, as you're putting the green beans in, you want to stack them around in this manner. You want to create a bowl within this pot here. Okay, this is how I'm able to get 7 days of food in this one crock pot. This is very important. There's another step that's coming after that. After this, it's also important. All right, listen, in case it's not obvious to you, I'm a bachelor. So this is, you know, bachelor cooking, okay? You're not, it's nothing fancy here, people. Just real simple stuff. And the reason I do this and put 7 days of food in here is because every night I can come home and I can reconstitute this. We're going to get into that in a moment, but I just wanted to mention that. I don't want to overthink and waste too much time on food. I'm usually busy throughout the day, and I come home, I don't want to have to think. All right, I don't always use all the green beans I buy, but there you go. So the idea here is you want to stack that in a bowl shape so it goes about to the brim, okay? Now, for the next step. Two of the key ingredients here, tomato paste, tomato sauce. This is the last thing I add, so we're going to put this off to the side. But this here, this is going to be a glue in this pot next, right? This is the only can opener I use. It's the demo knife, originally for the Marine Corps in World War II, and that's it. So I just do this here. Oopsie. Very simple. I like to take the top completely off. Grab a butter knife here, and I'll show you what's going to happen next. I'll just put you right up here and try to angle this down a little bit more. I think that's probably pretty good. I hope this is. Seems like it might be. All right. So I'm just going to scoop this out. I'm going to dump it in here. And get it all out of there. This is an important ingredient, I find, the tomato paste. This is the big can. If you can't find the larger can, you get the two smaller cans. And I'll clean that out in a moment. But the idea here is now you're going to take this and you're going to drag this up the edges. And that's going to hold the beans and everything else up in place eventually. Trust it. Trust me. And this is what you're doing, right? So you're creating a bowl within a bowl. All right. This is, you know, it took me a long time to figure this out, but this helps a lot. Again, I'm cramming a lot of food into this one thing here, this one container. So it's important. All right. All right, at this point, we're going to take half the onion. Oops, usually I cut the ends off first. You guys got me off balance here. Usually I'm just working. I'm not thinking about how I'm doing it. All right, then I cut it this way. This over to the side, and I'm going to peel this outside edge off here. And then nothing fancy with cutting up this onion. I'm just going to make some slices. Lay this down a little bit. I'm going to chunk it up. That's it. You know, very simple. I'm not going crazy. I don't have to cut into little tiny bite-sized pieces. I think it looks cooler not being bite-sized. You know, like when I say bite-sized, I'm talking about little, people dice up the onion super small. I don't see the point in that. This is how I like to do it. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to force that up against the sides in there as well. Okay, at this point you can put your spices in, but today we're going to cut up half the meat first, and then we're going to put the spices in on top of that. All right, so I used to go to a market and get my meat. I used to buy their stew meat there, and the guy would chunk it up already, and I would just come home and dump it in. And then I started just going to the store, you know, Ralph's, and getting this. I think it's a little cheaper to buy it this way. It's the shoulder. And again, keep in mind, I buy it, let's see, this other one here is 2.39 pounds. The one I just threw away was over 2 pounds. It was 2.89 pounds, so I'm well over 5 pounds. But again, this piece here, I'm just going to chunk it up here. All right, I'm just going to slice this up. I try to find the pieces that have the fat. I find that the fat is, I just like it. It's good for you. I think it adds something to the stew. You don't want to go too lean with this, in my opinion. That's up to you. It is a myth that fat's bad for you. When you eat animal fat, it's not turning into fat in your body. Anybody who's ever told you that doesn't know what they're talking about. I'm going to toss it in there for now, but it will get patted down as I did with the vegetables, in a way, to a certain degree. Your size of chunks is up to you. It doesn't matter. It's going to fall apart, you know. It's all going to break down in this pot for the most part. So I'm going to finish chunking this up. This is where we're at so far. Still a hole in the middle there. We got room for plenty more meat. All right. I don't think I can look at the camera here and show you the pot at the same time. So bear with me. I'm so pro. So again, remember, this is 7 days worth of spices, okay? So it's going to seem like a lot to you. I'm not going to take the time, keep filming while I'm doing each one, but I'm using the rainbow peppercorns from Trader Joe's. And I'm just doing this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A little extra. That's 7 days of pepper right there. I'm going to do the same thing with the pink Himalayan salt. Well, pink salt crystals. I used to say Himalayan. Where are they getting it now? Gee whiz, where are they? Are we just dyeing it pink? So 1, 2, you get the picture. 3, 4, 5, 6. I wasn't going to count to 7 for each of these, but what do you think? 7, 8, 9, 10. Salt's good for you. Don't let anybody tell you different. Too much salt's bad. If you're eating a bunch of garbage food and store-bought stuff, processed foods, all that, yeah, I'm not doing that. So you need salt. You sweat it out, especially if you work hard. So boom, boom. My next thing is I like this this mushroom stuff here. Again, this is a Trader Joe's product. I just put a bunch of that in there. Now keep in mind, this is probably the end of this one, huh? This is for me. This is what I like. This is a savory stew. I like turmeric. Okay, I put a lot of turmeric in here. Now, turmeric tastes like dirt. Okay, we all know that. You don't taste the turmeric, really. I don't think. I do this for health benefits. Now, most of these ingredients are actually for health benefits. Let me take a look at this here. I enjoy the flavor of a lot of these spices, but the main reason I use them is the health benefits. So you should look up what turmeric is good for. I'm going to use some garlic powder. Seems like a lot to you people. I know that. I know this seems like a lot. But again, it's 7 days, 7 meals here. Basil. Basil's real big with the Greeks. I'm going to pull this whole top off here and just dump a lot of that in. I've got some more. That's probably not enough. So after I'm done filming this segment, I'm going to put a little more basil in there. Parsley, another good one. I think it's parsley that helps raise testosterone levels. So you guys should look into that. I got some more of that under the counter too. So I'll just dump all this in here and I'll fill both of those up. And thyme. Thyme is good for congestion, I hear. And you guys know me. You hear me doing it all the time. So this is where we're at right now. Nom 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 nom. Boopity boo boo. I had to put this curtain up so it would diffuse the light because the sun was blinding me when I started. So this is where we're at so far. Now I've got to cut up this piece of meat, and I'm going to slice off some of it first so I can eat some steak and eggs when I'm done here. Looks like I got this one just in time. Might be starting to turn here. So I'm going to do a couple thin slices like this here. I'm going to put that on a plate. That'll cook pretty fast in the frying pan. I use a cast iron pan. Maybe I'll take one more, huh? Let's eat some more meat this morning. This is a power breakfast I'm about to eat, and I love it. It's one of my favorite things about doing my stew these days, ever since I started just cutting up my own meat instead of getting it at the butcher, at the market I went to. So that's going to get cooked up in the frying pan, and the rest of this here is going to get chunked up and put in there. All right, so now we just have to cut up this this last half of an onion here and put that into the stew. And that's the better way to do that. Put that across the top of the stew. And my next thing here that I typically do, even before I get back to the stew, is wipe off this cutting board, and I've got a little way of dealing with that. Normally I have a used paper towel, but today I don't. So I'm going to wipe it down to get the most of the meat muck off of here. Okay. And give you guys a little bit of knowledge, just so you know. Wood cutting boards are better than plastic because they have a natural antibiotic. Science hasn't even really figured it out, but it's a fact. They've tested cutting boards where they've cooked chicken on them. So this is, I use this all the time. It's one of my favorite kitchen tools for washing dishes and everything else. It's got the soap in the handle. Use some soapy water here. Probably too much water. I should have rinsed that out first. I'm doing this for you, so that's it. That's all you need to do. Take care of your cutting board right there. And a couple more paper towels. Right now the soap is doing its job, but as I was saying, they've cut chicken on plastic cutting boards and wood cutting boards, and they come back, you know, they're trying to get salmonella going, and then they come back 24 hours later and they find that the wood cutting boards have no more, it's gone, it's dead. But the bacteria stays alive on the plastic cutting boards. Don't believe me, look that up. So now I'm done with this. It's clean, it's totally fine. I'll let that air dry. And then as your cutting board dries out on you over time, one of my favorite products to use is right behind you here. It's this stuff right here. Clapham salad bowl beeswax. Matter of fact, I need some more of this. You want to donate to the channel? I'm almost out of this. Just you stick your fingers in here and just wipe it on the board. Wait for it to dry. Put this stuff on, wipe it on, rub it in really good, get in all the pores, and let that sit. And then you come back later with a paper towel and wipe it off. And that'll keep your cutting board nice and you know, seasoned, or whatever term you want to use for this. There's a big dig in this board right here. That's because the second day I put this in, I was like, let's see how tough this is. And I chopped the meat with a cleaver on it like an idiot. And the way this is designed, it only fits in here one way. And I put the grooves up on the top here for juices, you know, not to run off. So I'm kind of stuck with that. But again, I've been using this board at least 13 years. And it's holding up great other than that big nasty gash there. And if you look hard, you'll see the knife marks. They're in there. But there's nothing wrong with that. That's normal. Oh, there we go. Good shot of that. The wax will fill that in a little bit. It'll be fine. When you put the wax on, then it kind of, the water beads up on it. It's kind of nice. It lasts quite a long time. So I could always sand this out too. I could, you know, bring this to the shop, sand it, make it look like new again, and we'd be golden. Anyhow, that's where we're at now. Coming up to the last step here. Okay, it's probably a little off kilter. Last step is dumping this on top. This is the tomato sauce. All right, So I'm just going to pour this right across the top of this. And then what I'll do is I have a filter now on my sink, which normally I don't, but I'll use a filtered water. And I'm filling this can, but I'm not filling this can all the way. And I'll tell you why. So I fill the can, I hope this reads on camera, just about 2/3 of the way. This is on the lens there. And that's it. That's it. Any more water than that, when this is cooking, especially if you leave this, if you go out and go to work all day and you come home, it'll overflow. So that's what I found. So that's it. Now I'm going to stick this into the pot thingy over here. Okay, so I'm going to plug this thing in. Apologies for the dirty kitchen and everything else. I'm a bachelor. Let's stick this on here. Get some of the material out of here. This is the groove that the glass sits in. All right, we're going to turn it on. And it's on low. And I'm going to click this. 8 hours. Boom. And then put the lid on it. That's it. So that's the Mike Z stew right there, the savory stew. Okay, you guys got that? You watch it again, write down the ingredients. My curtain, my old sheet that I ripped up is currently falling off the window. That's it. Now you got it. Okay, so it's roughly 5 pounds of beef, 2-pound bag of carrots, a bag of green beans, a large onion. All right, it's salt, pepper. I'm using the umami mushroom stuff, the turmeric, the garlic powder, the thyme, and the basil and the parsley to taste. Keeping in mind, I'm doing it for 7 days. Now, I've got 2 of these. All right. So I cooked this tonight. Oh, man, there goes the light. And I fill up 2 of these. I put them in the fridge. I let it cool, obviously, overnight. Once this is done, I take it off and I set it here. And I adjust the top so it's open so it airs out a little bit. And then it cools off a bit. And then I'll put some out in a bowl and eat it tonight. Here's the thing. It's never good the first night. It's good. It's great. Don't get me wrong. But what I'll do is I'll take a glass bowl right here, and I'll put some Italian from Italy in that bowl, just a little bit, and then I'll pour the hot stuff over it, and I'll cover this, and I'll let it sit for 30 minutes, then it's ready to eat. Now, every night when I come home from work, I know I just ran out of this, so I got to dig it out of here. Apologies, because, you know, I'm so pro. Right here. This is what I do. So I come home at night, and I take one of these Revereware pots here, and I take some of the stew out of this, I put it in here, then I fill up to just above the stew itself that I put in there with the V8. Okay? I bring that to a boil on the stove, covered. Then I take some Italian pasta from where? Italy, and put that in there. I put the lid on, but I leave it ajar, no heat. I just let it, I stir it up, and I let it sit for 30 minutes. It's perfect temperature to eat at that point, and the pasta has absorbed a lot of the moisture, and it's perfect. And I find that putting a little bit of carb in there like that is, my body needs it. So that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you got something out of it. So many of you have asked for this. I hope it's good enough, because I ain't doing this again. Have a good day. Be kind to one another. Eat healthy. Get some exercise. And I'll catch you in the next one.